Hi everyone, welcome to this edition of Addington News. And Darren, in slightly, I won't say awkward circumstances or different situation to what we normally do, but it's imperative that we understand the red light situation and therefore Addington News in a slightly different format.
Yeah, look, the Addington office has been split up, if you like, Greg. We're all in separate bubbles, looking at how we can continue to operate if anything did happen. And I know the trainers out there will be thinking about the same thing, that if it ripped through stable staff, how they continue to operate, how they continue to bring horses to the races if they're unfortunate enough to be caught by that, just as we're doing at the moment. So, wee bit awkward, not the most pleasurable thing. Normally it used to being in the office with everyone else, but it is what it is, and we do what we've got to do to carry on.
All right, we did that last Friday night at Addington. Excellent program. Track was in lightning fast condition, and the Garrard's Horse and Hound Premier Mares, which is such a key lead-up race, doing a bit of history on it yesterday around how many horses since the turn of the century have actually gone on and done the double. It's about 8, and you're talking about horses like Adore Me, and the quality of horses like her to be able to do that. And Need You Now was excellent. We'll get to see her later on in this wee piece. But, gee, it was a cracking contest, wasn't it?
Yeah, look, it was. There's a lot of quality amongst these mares, even back in the field, and a couple of them are dropping back from that race back into other racing this week, which we'll touch on as we work through. But obviously, Bella Montana, we're rapt to see her back at Addington and competing. Better Twist, obviously, from the draw, covered a lot of ground, and I know you guys have reviewed it on the box seat, so that's certainly worth having a look at. But there was a number of other mares there that, with the right run, can certainly run placings in Group 1s, and we're really looking forward to that in 2 weeks' time or next week.
And we certainly get to see, again, one of the stars from last Friday at Addington again this week in Muscle Mountain, off the back of, you wouldn't say a substandard performance in the Dominion, because when you consider the time that Sunday Sun went and the fact that Muscle Mountain had to move, it was just great to see him back, comfortable, in front, rolling. He is clearly in the top 3 in the country, and we get to see him back-to-back.
Yeah, we do. So it's exciting for him to be there. It's going to be a really great contest. You know, you feel a wee bit sorry for a horse like Midnight Dash, who is a very good horse in his own right, but chasing home his stablemate. A number of other horses obviously are competitive in these races as they go forward, but he sort of stands above them. But he's going to have a challenge this week from the superstar young horse, Five Wise Men, who resumes in this race. Perhaps may need the run, but he certainly was very impressive with the trials against the Pacers just recently.
Yeah, definitely. So tell me about the turnover. We'll preview some of those races a little bit later on, but tell me about the turnover from last Friday night. How did that stack up?
Yeah, it stacked up really good. We were down just a handful of horses on the previous year, but we did over $1 million for the meetings that were held during the week. Banks Peninsula were the highest turnover, but of course they had 30, 40 more horses than us. But the turnover per runner was actually higher at Addington, as it normally is. So, look, we were pleased with it. It's frustrating around the red light setting where, you know, we started so well. But I think the ability to watch the races at home, to take in all of the action and still participate by having a bet, if you like, is still there. And, you know, we're really pleased with the turnover.
What about for this Friday night? Give me an update on how that's going to work around the groups that will be able to attend.
Yeah, pretty much the same as last week. So no public on course. The members will be moved down into the spectators bubble with the owners. So we'll just operate one bubble there. Both those groups are relatively small in the scheme of what we were doing. So putting them in one room makes sense. The participants will be in the stables in a separate bubble, and we'll continue to do that to protect that group for as long as we can. And apart from that, we're set to go. The forecast is okay, perhaps not as good as it's been, but it's okay. But the track, as we know, regardless of weather conditions, performs outstandingly well.
Yep, certainly does that, and we saw a great example of that last Friday night. Friday week will be Group 1 racing for the first time in 2022 at Addington Raceway. The Fahey Fence Hire, great supporters of Addington Raceway, getting behind the $100,000. Well, there's only 2 Group 1s for the mares throughout the year, the Queen of Hearts in Auckland and this one. So they really are sought after Group 1 races for the female brigade.
Yeah, look, and we're not quite sure yet whether we'll be having some additional horses. The Honey Queen obviously is one that springs to mind that could be down for the race. And obviously it's a random barrier draw. So being a Group 1, it's an exciting time for the mares. It's just before the yearling sales, and a lot of those horses have progeny, brothers and sisters that are in the yearling sales. So it's a good time for the industry. It was previously a premier race meeting for Addington Raceway. The stakes will certainly be higher and people will see that. And we're working through our stakes for what were our premier meetings at Easter time and May to lift those stakes as well. So, but we're pleased to be back with some feature racing, and it really does look like it's going to be a really good contest, this mare's race. You look at All American Lover, who was perhaps a notch below those horses going into it based on their overall performance, but gee, she was unlucky. Just pushed back at the wrong time, and it actually played, of course, into John Dunn's hands, being able to get back over to the fence. But those two horses finishing in front of Group 1, multiple Group 1 winners in Bella Montana and Better Twist. It's exciting stuff, and we're looking forward to next week as well.
Yeah, barrier draw out Tuesday, previewed on the box seat as well. So you'll be able to watch that on Wednesday morning if Trackside is your preferred viewing platform, or on YouTube. Let's talk about this week and some of the horses you talked about. Manhattan's one that drops back into a really good race, and in race number 3. I know she's got a wide draw, but you can't knock the Bob Butt team at the moment. They're just flying. Angel of Montana's drawn nicely. Show Me Heaven's a nice horse, as is Town Echo. So good competitive race number 3. In fact, it might be one of the better betting races of the night.
Look, I don't think Manhattan was a terrible performance by any stretch of the imagination the other night. Certainly it was a step up in grade and drops back here. A week before, she just absolutely run them ragged. So she's a very good horse, and I think later in the night, the last race, which we'll talk about, Life's a Beach, drops back from that race as well, and she had an awful draw again. She doesn't seem to have a lot of luck with draws at times, and when she does get a nice one, she certainly capitalises and is capable. So yeah, look, that's one of the lead-up races. We move into the Commodore Hotel handicap pace, which is only a small but select field with Cranbourne, Classy Brigade, and DiCaprio taking his place there after a wee trip to Nelson, where he struggled a wee bit on that track to catch them, and it was certainly good after the wee niggle that he had leading into Cup, and had to be withdrawn from the New Zealand Cup last year, to see him back on track. So we're pleased to see him back, and of course he was the winner of the New Brighton Cup.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a small field above and beyond. There's actually a close relation, might even be a fall to it in the sale, which is a beckoning, of course, with New Zealand bloodstock. So gets a start off some of those horses, and the way he went and beat One Change, and then One Change came out, win a super race in the Invercargill Cup. Although that's a small field, I think Above and Beyond will get his chance once again. We've touched on Muscle Mountain taking on Five Wise Men, so that'll be a good race. And I'm expecting a much improved, and I know she improved last time, but Time Up the Hill, I think she'll take all sorts of beating in race number 9.
Yeah, hey, I couldn't agree more. She's back to a mobile. She's drawn the front line. She really was doing her best work late in the piece last week. Idle Stuart Eyre comes back from, a massive trip to Nelson and Blenheim, where run ragged, and went down south, and he was placed down there. So that'll be competitive back at Addington. And of course, we move to the last race, the first direct taxis, always the get out stakes, and reminding people to grab a taxi if they've been on course and had a couple of drinks. But that's a really, really good field as well. In particular, Life's a Beach, as I said, dropping back. Franco Macho and a couple of others, Beach Ball in particular.
Yeah, Beach Ball's in there.
So again, a relatively small field, but not easy to pick the winner of some of these races.
No, it should mean that the turnover is really strong. And just on the sales, Darren, it's always such a great barometer of where the industry's at. And I'm going out to do an interview with Tony Barron on Friday, which will play on the box seat because he's a great horse trader. He's got 3 horses in the sales as well, just to get a line on what he thinks of the catalogue. But he's already given me an insight. He said he doesn't think he's seen a better catalogue. It's just full of black type, and he can't wait to get to the sales and get involved. And we'll get that down pat with him for that interview, and just get an insight from him as to what some of the other people and some of the drafts that are out there and the way they've been prepared, and the yearling parades that have been on. I know that the Northern Tour, they were wrapped with the Brecon Brecon yearlings as well. And down here, the comments coming out from those who are going to be buying the horses are they're the best prepared lot they've just about ever seen.
Yeah, look, New Zealand Bloodstock have really done a good job with the sales, and the preparers have done an exceptional job. As you say, everything that we've seen, the videos and things that have been out there, the photos, and obviously the content that you've had on the box seat, the preparers have done a huge job. You know, Katie Cox, for example, really starting to make a mark as a trainer, but certainly does a great job preparing horses, and the Brecon Farm draft, as you've said. I think, look, everyone is excited. Obviously, the Renwick Farm ones, who are big sponsors, of course, of Addington Raceway, those relations to Akuta in particular are going to be sought after, especially the filly. And look, we wish everyone the very best of luck leading into that. It's as you say, it's a barometer for the industry. And what we know for certain, Greg, is that the standard bred product that we put on the ground here in New Zealand is sought after all over the world.
Yeah, absolutely. It is that. Couple of videos to finish off with from our 2 group features last week.
Yeah, we're going to leave you with those 2, Muscle Mountain and Need You Now. Obviously, a lot of those horses are starting to compete, particularly this week and next week into the Premier type meeting with the Breeders' Stakes. So we'll leave you those on the way out, to exceptionally good horses, and we look forward to Friday night and the week after.
The corner, he is 6 lengths in front of Bit of Muscle, who ran to second. Then came the Dominator, Majestic Check and Midnight Dash. They're all playing for the minors here, ladies and gentlemen, with 100 metres left to go. First run back since the Dominion, and it is Muscle Mountain. Muscle Mountain down to the line. Midnight Dash flashes late for second. Third will be the Dominator. Fourth in was Majestic Check from Bit of Muscle, and Rachmaninoff to the inside from Better Twist. Belle of Montana moves to Better Talkart. Need You Now's running on. All American Lover wider out. Need You Now going to Belle of Montana. All American Lover flashing late. It's Need You Now from All American Lover. Need You Now. Need You Now won the Group 2. Beat All American Lover. Third, Belle of Montana. Fourth, maybe Better Talkart. Ahead of then came Better Twist, followed over by Kelly's Delight. Next in was